Good morning, everyone. This is Mr. Johnson, your English 1101 instructor again, recording the next screencast. What we're going to talk about today is the paragraphs, what needs to be in each of your paragraphs when you write your essays. So, and while I'm pulling up a blank Word document, what I'm about to recommend you include in your paragraphs is based on the idea that we are writing 5 paragraph essays. So let's get our heading on here first. So Clyde is going to be my student name. Instructor name, Mr. Johnson. Course is English 1101. And today's date is 9/10/2015. Remember, we don't want this part of the essay to be double spaced, so we'll highlight it, click here, remove space after paragraph, click down to your next line, add space before to put a space in there. We're going to center it, and here we'll put the title of our assignment. I'm going to call this 5-paragraph essay. So first of all, just to talk about the 5-paragraph essay broadly, the first paragraph is the introduction. We'll talk about that more in a moment. The second paragraph is body number 1. Third paragraph is body number 2. Guess what the fourth is? That's right, body number 3. And then finally, we have our conclusion. Let's talk about the introduction closer. Now, there are essentially 4 things we need to see in your introduction. First of all, there is a hook. And what this hook does is it draws your audience's attention. Next, we have the bridge, which it gets you from your hook closer to your actual topic. You know, your hook may be way out in left field just to get your reader's attention, but then you got to reel them back in to get to what you're really talking about. So that's the purpose of your bridge, to get you from your hook to what you're actually writing about. Then we have your business, which I actually call the biz when I talk about it a lot. So this is where you broadly state what you're actually writing about. And then finally, you have your thesis statement. Your thesis statement we actually covered in the previous video. So again, your hook draws your audience's attention. Your bridge gets you from your hook closer to your actual topic. Your business statement is where you broadly state what your paper is actually about. And then you have your thesis statement. So now, let's look at an example of an introductory paragraph. So in my example, my topic that I'm going to be writing about is the best carrots on Sesame Street. All right. So let's see how we can do this. Don't judge me. I'm coming off the dome, so it may take me a minute to develop this. So let's try to work this out. Alright, so my hook, even though this is a bit of a weak hook, it may not draw that many people in. My hook is there are many significant characters on Sesame Street. So, you know, I think that is an okay hook because it's referring to characters on a kid show as being significant. So this is my hook. There are many significant characters on Sesame Street. All right. So now I need a bridge to get me closer to my topic. So my bridge is going to be all right. Some of these characters are more relatable than others. So basically what I'm saying here is you could find something in common, more in common with some of the characters than you can some of the other characters. Like some of you may identify with Big Bird. Some of you may identify with Mr. Snuffleupagus. Others may identify with Oscar the Grouch, which is nothing wrong with that. Oscar has some good qualities too. But I have a particular character in mind that I think is the best character on Sesame Street. We're going to get to him in a second. So this is my bridge. After my bridge, I need my business statement, which is where I broadly state what I'm actually talking about in my paper. So in my business statement, I'm going to say, all right, so my business statement is, while many of the characters can be identified with, there is one that I find to stand above the rest. So this lets you know I'm not talking about all the Sesame Street characters, but I'm talking about one in particular. All right, so as you can see, I getting closer to what we're actually talking about. Here is where we put in our thesis statement. So let me give you the thesis statement that I'm thinking of. I'm gonna phrase that differently. All right, so this is my thesis statement. Cookie Monster is the greatest Sesame Street character because he is big, blue, and eats lots of cookies. All right, so as you can see, that has my assertion, which we talked about in a previous video, where I make my claim, and then it has the part that has my three prongs that I would write about in my actual body of my essay. So this is my introductory paragraph. All right, and actually while we're talking, let me put this in the right format. We're going to use Times New Roman 12-point font. All right, there we go. All right, so that's my introduction. We have all of those parts. We have the hook, which is there are many significant characters on Sesame Street. We have our bridge, which is some of these characters are more relatable than others. All right, and then we have our business statement. While many characters can be identified with, there is one that I find to stand above the rest. And then finally, we have our thesis statement, which Cookie Monster is the greatest Sesame Street character because he is big, blue, and eats lots of cookies. So we want to pay attention to these right here for the next part of the essay. Let me get big too. Our 3 prongs. You see how they're listed. The big is first, blue is next, and eats lots of cookies is the third one. The way they are positioned in this thesis statement is the way that they're going to be addressed in your body. So if we look back up, remember we have body 1, body 2, and body 3. Big will be what the first body paragraph is about. Cookie Monster being blue will be what the second body paragraph is about. And body 3 will be about Cookie Monster and his cookies. So let's see if we can go ahead and finish writing this essay. So my next paragraph is about Cookie Monster being big. So let's do this. Let's talk about the parts of body paragraphs first. The elements that your body paragraphs need to include are the following. First of all, you need a topic sentence. And in case you're unaware of what a topic sentence is, this is where you tell the reader what the paragraph is about. Now, I'm not saying that you say here, hey, this paragraph is about Cookie Monster being blue. You know, we could be a little more creative in how we approach that, and I'll give you an example in a minute. But the topic sentence tells the reader what the paragraph is about. The next part of your body paragraph, we want to have what I call big point 1. And this will be your first major point about whatever the topic of the paragraph is. Alright. After your big point 1, you're going to have sub point 1, which sub point 1 supports the first big point. Sub point 2 does the same thing, supports big point. After you have big point 1 and sub point 1 and 2 to support big point 1, you're going to repeat that. You'll have big point 2 and you'll have a sub point, 2 sub points for it. Alright, so the last thing you're going to have in a body paragraph is you're going to have a transition statement or cap the paragraph off. Now, if it is your first or second paragraph in the body, because they have paragraphs after them, you'll have a transition statement, which I'll give you an example of in a moment. However, if it's the last paragraph of your body, you don't need a transition statement because you're going to the conclusion of the entire paper. So now let's work on body paragraph example. Right, so my first prong of this essay is about Cookie Monster being blue.